The extraordinary talent and sheer guts of our next guest is being talked about in the whole movie industry. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it.
The trade papers.
Yeah. Well, New York and New West magazines wrote about his determination not to sell the movie he wrote for himself called Rocky unless he could star in it. Please welcome the writer and the star of Rocky, Sylvester Stallone. So wonderful in that movie.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Really an incredible movie because it starts out so simply and it's gentle. And this gentle soul turns out to be a killer. I mean, not really a killer.
Well, not really.
A kind of a dedicated.
Well, he's fighting for his, the spirit of man, which has been denied him all his life. It goes with, I think anyone in the audience can identify with. We all have a potential, I think, and when that potential isn't realized, whether you're an actor, comedian, dancer, and no one gives you a chance, then you feel, well, I've been a totally wasted life, and usually you become deviant. He goes into somewhat semi-crime. Other people end up on a psychiatrist's couch, hostile, divorcing, whatnot, when our potential isn't realized. And
That's interesting because you felt very strongly, I mean, that's your story more than it is Rocky's.
Right.
You felt that your potential wasn't being realized. He wrote this property. They weren't coming to you, breaking your door down with every script in town, I understand, and you decided, well, I'm going to write one that's me.
Right.
And then when they wouldn't let you star, they offered you a lot of money for other stars, didn't they?
Oh, they offered, well, I got in excess of like $250,000, and I had about $103 in the bank, but...
And your wife was pregnant?
And my wife was pregnant, and my dog was eating furniture, and it was desperate times. So I asked my wife if, I said, if you don't mind taking a long shot, like just ended up in the backyard grazing or something, because we don't have any money left, I'll go ahead and see if we can tangle with the power structure a little bit.
And you did?
Well, yeah, you have nothing to lose when you have nothing to lose.
Now, I tell you, I want to talk to you a lot of it, but first I want them to see a clip.
All right.
Do you know which segment of the movie we have?
Yeah. I've always been really fascinated by going into like a pet shop or any type of shop, and I see a woman there who no one has ever taken any concern of. And this girl, her name is Adrian. Rocky is kind of a loser. She is kind of a loser. And it's together, two losers are brought together. Now, he has been desperately trying to get a date with her, and he's finally gotten a date with her. And he gets her up to his apartment, which is like, I'd say, a living accident.
It is the worst.
It is disgusting. Terrible place. And he raises turtles, and that's all he has in his life. Turtles and garbage. Total. So he brings her to this place. And a punching bag. And a few Hershey bars, and that's about it. And he brings her in. And this is her nervousness in trying to leave and him desperately wanting her to stay. And the rest, I hope, is history.
This is Talia Shire.
This is Talia Shire, right.
She was in The Godfather.
In The Godfather, right.
She's even better in this. Please, take a look at this clip from Rocky.
The room, do you?
It's fine.
Well, it's only temporary, you know.
It's not that.
What's the problem? You don't like me? You don't like the turtles? What's the problem?
I don't think I belong here.
It's okay.
I don't belong here.
Well, you know, it's okay, because you're my guest.
I don't know you well enough. I've never been in a man's apartment alone.
Well, they're all the same, you know.
I'm not sure I know you well enough. I don't feel comfortable.
Yo, Adrian, you know, I ain't so comfortable either.
I should go.
Don't go, please. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Do me a favor.
What?
Take off these glasses. You got nice eyes, you know. Do me another favor.
was pretty.
Don't tease me.
Not teasing you. I ain't teasing you. I want to kiss you. You don't have to kiss me back if you don't want. I want to kiss you.
From, you said you had Hershey bars up there too, right?
Well, yes.
But just goes to prove Hershey bars aren't doing as much in '76 as they did in World War II.
No, but you know what happens before that and after that. This very shy person and this man who obviously has never had any kind of
Right.
relationship is really so touching.
I was with him the night that he beat Jersey Joe Walcott.
Let
for
me
the
tell
title.
him. Can I tell him who you're talking about?
Talk about Rocky Marciano, who I realize we both idolize.
Yeah.
But can I tell you a beautiful incident about the man? I was with Rocky Marciano in Reno, Nevada. And Rocky, I think, pound for pound, was one of the strongest punchers that ever lived. And as we walked in to this nightclub in Reno, some guy about 6'7", weighing 380 pounds, walked over, and he said to Rocky, "I could wipe up the floor with you in a minute." And Rocky turned to me and said, "Didn't I tell you when we walked in there was one guy here that could take me?" And that guy walked away so proud. No fight, nothing took place.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I used to do road work and all with Rocky. I loved him.
You did?
Sure, up at Grossinger's.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Nobody worked harder.
Nobody.
Rocky used to take 20-pound weights and punch them underwater in the pool. I saw him duck walk 30 flights of stairs as part of his training program.
Duck walk, you mean down with, on bent knees? What?
No, I meant...
Well, I don't...
Of course I meant... It's tough to do this show. It's tough to do this show.
Well, I have never trained for a fight, but I'm going to work on it. He ate
He's doing pretty
24
good.
eggs, 24 eggs a day, and he ran 19 miles, as much as 19 miles to train
Right.
for that movie, every day. Not 19 miles altogether, 19 miles a
He
day.
ate 24 eggs around 19 miles?
Yes.
Isn't that a long way to run just to get rid of 24 eggs?
No, but I mean, that would certainly handle the cholesterol.
He's in
Running
great
19.
shape.
Yes. Well, you worked. I mean, he really put himself.
Well,
through
that's the
bruising.
thing. If you're going to play a fighter, it's not. You really have to live it. Or I think the audience now is so discerning and so attuned to what's happening. You can't cheat them on film anymore.
No.
You can't just like the older fight films when the actors only had like a week to prepare. They couldn't train, so we just learned in for about
A lot of
8
guys
months.
who played fighters did not know how to use their hands. John Garfield in Body and Soul did not. William Holden in Golden Boy did not. But the one guy who knew, he played a picture called Winner Take All. James Cagney. He knew
Yeah,
how to
sure.
throw punches and hold his hands.
He just naturally knew how to move,
Right.
period.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that he did all of these things on screen that the fighters have to do in that fight at the end, which you choreographed, it says on the credits
Right.
there, was incredibly real, and I don't think you had a double in that very much, did you?
No, we couldn't afford a double. We couldn't even afford lunch. So
It was a very low
But did
budget.
you get money for this? Now I'm confused. I thought that you turned down $250,000.
Right.
You have to understand that
You
they
turned
were,
it all down and invested your own money?
no, just to work for minimum. Like we have a minimum actor wage, and
Right.
minimum screenwriting.
No, Joey doesn't understand the basic thing. He wrote this script.
Yes.
And every studio said yes, or 2 or 3 studios said, yes, I would like to buy it, but I have a star in mind that I want. He said, no, I wrote this for me.
Right.
And if you'll take me, I will work for scale. So he trained himself, and he held out until
Right.
Chartoff and Winkler said, yes, we're going to go on that basis, and they wouldn't consider anybody else, and
Right.
let him star in his own film,
Ah.
which he had written for himself, instead of taking some of the big-name stars who would have trained and
They're still taking quite a chance. I mean, in their minds, right?
Well, sure. But their budget was very low because you went even under the budget that had been.
Oh yeah, we came in about $10 under.
$10 on it.
Went out and bought a house.
well,
Didn't use any rosin, right?
We-
Save $10.
oh, sure. What was the reaction when you first told the studio that they couldn't have that wonderful script for all that money unless they used you in it?
Well, I pulled up to the studio in a '63 Olds that had it was painted rust. You know, it was painted, nature had painted
Right away,
it.
you're in trouble.
Right away, they thought I was there to do the windows and empty the trash. And when I asked for the money, they thought it was a joke. They thought it was a one-liner, like I was just in there auditioning to do Woody Allen movies. And the more I stuck to it, I think the more worried they became. Then they said, "Well, what the hell? Let's show a little pioneer spirit." And it went up to Arthur Krim at the top of UA, then all the way back down again. They said, "Okay, let him go. We'll give you $1 million if you go over. That's too bad." And the producers put up the mortgage, their homes, their cars, the locks, the bagels, everything was out. You know, they just put it all on the line. And luckily, John Avildsen brought in what I think is going to go down as truly an extraordinary piece of work, since it took 28 days, and I think it takes longer to hatch an egg or something.
Sure.
You know?
20, hatch an egg, yes.
Yeah, really.
And you ate 24. I can't get over
Yeah.
that. I watched that.
Well, I walk strange from now on. Yes, I do. I find myself sitting on a lot of beach balls, you know.
But they didn't hatch, right?
Right.
No. You talked about John Avildsen just now, and he's
Yeah.
a fine director. But now with the writer and the star there on the screen, didn't that put an unusual amount of pressure on him?
Oh, yeah, it really did. The odd thing is there was one picture taken. I wish I had it now. It's the 15th round, bloody and gored, and nose is hanging in my ear. And then he said, "Listen, could you rewrite the love scene for next Thursday?" So they stick a giant big pen in my glove, and it's claw shot. And this is what the whole thing was maneuvered like that. So it was... I think that's what brought the movie to actual fruition. It just came to a head because everyone had nothing to lose. All the actors in it, there are no names really except for Burgess Meredith. John Avildsen was he was borderline. No one had really seen what he could do, and now I think he'll surface as a major force.
It's one of the finest things Burgess Meredith has done in years, and he's just wonderful in it.
Oh yeah.
He plays a 76-year-old trainer. This is his last chance, and he's really treated
Everyone's last chance.
Whitey Bimstein,
Right.
who worked in Rocky's Corner,
Yeah.
is now almost that age, and he still is down at the Olympic boxing arena.
Now, there are two things that just brought up two things that we didn't mention before, that Rocky in the movie, his idol, Rocky Marciano, has a picture over the mirror, and he stands there, and the stance is exquisite. But the gym scenes that you had were so authentic. Were you a boxer before? Had you worked out?
No, I just always had an overly aggressive mouth.
Oh, and that didn't take you into gyms or out of them.
No, but it sure kept me in supply of fisticuffs and backyard pugilism and all that.
But this drab, noisy place.
It's the noisiest place. If you've never been in the gym, it's a whole other world, right, Joe? You go into a trance. It's the bags and the pounding, and that's just what I always felt was missing from other fight films. So we incorporated that. And there was one scene. Rocky Marciano's manager, at times, when Rocky would say, "Listen, I'm a little tired," but haul off and hit him right in the jaw. Bang. You treat him like a young caveman. And I said, "Let's do that in the movie. That'll look great." So he's tying a string between my feet, so I carry my body just so, and I say, "Okay, Burgess, during this point, you just haul off and smack me right here. Don't miss, on the chin, okay, because you're really fragile." Hauls off, hits the earlobe, right? All this, I don't know, potatoes come out, whatever comes out of your ear.
Oh, yeah.
Then he hauls off, hits me in the nose. Third take, he's knocking me out. I'm playing the fighter, and Burgess,
Yeah, he's not very tall.
I'm a 5'10" blood clot by now. I said, "All right, times. I tell you what, we'll do the red shoes. I mean, forget it."
Yeah.
So we decided not to go with Burgess's punch to the ear for the sake of my health.
Yeah.
Really.
Did you know Rocky had a back problem all of his life? Did you know that?
No.
No.
Yeah. Al Wilde, who handled
Right.
Rocky. Yeah, Rocky had, and not many people knew about it. And that's really the reason, his main reason for retiring
Was because
was
of
the kind of his back. And he's the first man in the history of boxing in the heavyweight division who ever won the title without having been previously defeated. Mm-hmm. Tunney was defeated by Greb. Dempsey was defeated.
That's right.
Joe Louis was defeated by Schmeling in an untitled fight. He was the first one. Record, I think, was 49 fights, 45 knockouts, 4 draws.
Right.
4
Extraordinary,
decisions.
right.
Tell me, did you ever think about doing the Rocky Marciano story?
Well, I couldn't take the liberties with it. This man's story is much more pathetic than Rocky. Rocky was, I think, much more well-adjusted.
A fighter from the beginning, really.
Right.
And this man really was just a bum.
Well, Rocky was he was a baseball player, then became a fighter.
He was a catcher, a great athlete,
Right.
by the way.
Right.
Yes.
I heard an interesting story about your mother, and I don't know if many people know this. His mother...
His mother beat Joe Louis in a
No,
three-rounder
no.
in Cleveland, Ohio. I was there, April the 14th, 1951.
No, that was
Split
Sylvia
decision.
Bruce. That was Sylvia Bruce.
Sylvia Cruz.
Now, no, the thing is, his mother said, well, she's an astrologist. Isn't she an amateur astrologist?
No, well,
What did she say?
she gets paid, so I guess you could say she's
Oh,
a professional.
she's a
on it,
professional.
yeah.
And she read your stars or something? What did she say?
Yeah, it was about 8 years ago when I was just starting out in acting, and I said, how am I going to do, Ma? And she says, no one will talk to you for 6 years.
She said that?
So I said, what do I do? Just disconnect the phone, nail the door shut, and get a job as a zookeeper. I didn't know what to do. But she says, you will be a writer. Now, up in this time, I had made it. I was a real success at not being able to spell my name hardly. I was a terrible writer.
No,
Terrible. When they would say diagram a sentence, I had no idea. I thought it was filthy when diagrams. What do they mean, you know? I'm serious. So what happened? I went to see Easy Rider, and I was really down and out. And I said, well, here's a movie that made $35 million, and since I'm doing nothing for the next 6 years, why don't I just go out and invest in a pad and pencil? If nothing else, maybe I can pick, doodle for 6 years.
How nice of you to believe what your mother said. I mean, she said you're not going to make it for 6 years, and you
What
knew
she
that.
really wanted him was to enter a monastery where nobody talks to you for 6 years.
Right.
But he misunderstood.